Chicago Public Schools, once again, deciding to stay open. That was the last word. So schools will be
They're
open
nuts.
tomorrow.
Gonna hurt children.
However, the CEO of Chicago Public Schools is warning parents out there to please use your own discretion when it comes to sending your child to school. They are making sure that all the boilers are up and running today so that they're ready for tomorrow. But again, the concern when you talk about frostbite, hypothermia, when we're dealing with wind chill factors that Phil and Troy are talking about, at 40 below, the potential for that, you have to make sure that you're safe.
You're nuts.
That's the number one concern. Of course, they're probably going to be addressing that, no doubt, during the news conference that we're waiting for at OEMC.
And just an example of how folks who have to be out in it are going to deal with it in the next several hours and days to come. The Morton Grove Fire Department is actually assigning an extra 2 or 3 firefighters to each shift over the next several days. The fire department there is saying that they're going to use a squad truck instead of a fire engine on calls because the fire truck's water could so easily freeze. I think of all the Chicago firefighters and firefighters from countless suburbs who are out battling this. Yes, they're covered up in lots of heavy gear, but they still have exposed elements.
Oh, man.
Freezes in a matter of seconds when it's exposed to such dangerously cold temperatures.
Nice
and
fingers are
and
slippery.
And the mix of water spray back if they have to respond to any fires.
You think about a fire too. They could be out there for quite some time. Now, one of the things throughout the morning that we have been doing is asking all of you, where are you, first of all, and what does it look like in your neighborhood? You have been sending us dozens of pictures through Facebook, also Twitter. Here's a look at some of them right now. Some of them just beautiful winter scenes, a few artistic photos out there too of snowmen and kids having fun. So there is the fun side of this for those of you who are out there at this point, but the danger being as the temperatures begin to drop throughout the day and into tonight.
And there you see work overnight to clear streets and sidewalks. Yeah, that's right. We are this morning using the hashtag ABC7Snow from a lot of wives who said, hey, here's a photo of my husband out there clearing it. I hope they're making some hot chocolate. This is an image from Orland Park that an ABC7 viewer shared with us on our Facebook page this morning. The images continue to come in. We do appreciate you helping us tell that story. This is Diamond, Illinois. The backyard grill absolutely covered there. Let's go to the northwest Indiana area, and joining us on the phone right now is Matt Deitchley, is a spokesman for the Indiana Department of Transportation. Northwest Indiana, no stranger to lake effect snow. We know you guys are used to getting hammered. What are conditions like out there right now, Matt?
Conditions are hazardous to difficult on just about every road across most of the state of Indiana right now, but especially the northwest area. And you said it best, that we're used to this kind of thing. We're used to the lake effect snow. At least people think that we are. But unfortunately, this is a different kind of storm. And that's one thing we're really pushing to everyone out there is that, a lot of people will think, oh, well, we've seen this before. We live in northwest Indiana. We understand how difficult winters can be. But this is a different kind of storm. This is dangerous. And we really advise people to stay off the roads if they can.
That is an excellent point out there. Just because you think you can head from point A to point B doesn't mean that you might find some complications. And to be stranded or to be stuck on the side of any of those expressways, any of the roadways, especially in northwest Indiana where you're getting hit, I'm sure that is a major concern as you try to make sure the roads are clear. But a safety point, a safety hazard, as well, if folks do get out there, the conditions are just too terrible.
That's correct. And right now, like I said, we're seeing not just difficult driving conditions, hazardous driving conditions on most roads. And that includes 8094, that includes I-65, some of these main thoroughfares. And this is all with a full call of snowplows working hard and have been working hard for well over 24 hours. So we just can't stay ahead of this storm. And that's showing people how dangerous the storm really is.
Another important point that you're making is that you're talking about the major thoroughfares being the ones that you're even having a hard point right now keeping up with this. Talk about some of the major side roads. I know we addressed this earlier. It's not just the snow, it's also the blowing snow and the conditions on some of the other thoroughways that aren't the major ones.
Those side roads, obviously, and not only roads, interstates, and those side roads are more county or city, but those obviously, and some of them haven't been touched yet by plows in some of the cities and counties just because they're busy getting those main roads taken care of. And by taking care of the main roads, that doesn't mean they're passable or great at any point. So, all roads right now are difficult to hazard in, and those side roads could be extremely hazardous depending on where they are.
All right, Matt Dykshley from the Indiana Department of Transportation, thank you so much for joining us live for conditions there in northwest Indiana. Now dipping back in now to our live picture from Chicago's 911 center on the near west side of the city, where we're moments away from a news conference from city emergency management officials to update us on the plan going forward. You know, the issue with CPS, a lot of people have questioned, you know, whether or not the schools should be open or not. Some suburbs, including Evanston, have decided to close schools tomorrow. Not necessarily because of the snow, but because of the dangerous cold. They don't want kids, you know, walking to school, standing out at bus stops. The issue that CPS faces, you know, with 400,000 students is, if those kids aren't in school, where do they go? And so one of the issues that any school district factors in is what's going to be in the best interest of the kids, their parents, their families, etc. CPS has decided that for its kids, it's best to have those schools open. But the CEO of Chicago Public Schools making the point earlier that parents, this is your call. You should make the call based on what you think is in the best interest of your child. Do they have a long walk? Do they have to take multiple bus routes to get to their school if it's not a local neighborhood school? So a lot of factors go into that.
We should also mention, too, for those of you who are wondering, all right, is my child's school going to be open tomorrow or not? We are going to be tracking those and putting them on our website, ABC7 Chicago, as we receive them into our newsroom. Of course, too, it's also good to remind all of you that some of these decisions are not made until overnight hours for these school districts, depending on those meetings are happening today and as we speak into the night with the superintendents of all the various school districts throughout the suburbs. And just wanted to make sure you know that tomorrow morning, starting at 4 a.m., we will be on air. The morning team is starting at that point to make sure you know information about your child's school and the conditions outside, that if indeed they are going to school, what they're going to need to do at that point.
And the school closings that have already been confirmed and coming into our newsroom, we're scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now. We've heard from superintendents of several school districts, including Hinsdale, that they're actually planning to have a conference call this afternoon to make that decision this afternoon. So parents, students, I know it's been, for some of you, a long 2 weeks with everybody at home. You're anxious to find out whether or not there will be school tomorrow. Sounds like a lot of school districts will be regrouping this afternoon, taking a look at the latest forecast and making the decision then. Speaking of the latest forecast, let's go over to meteorologist Phil Schwartz.
Yeah,